everyone, and welcome to a live edition of the 5-Star Joshi Show here on the Fight Game Media Network YouTube channel. Yes, today is Stardom Dream Queendom Day, which means it's time to review Stardom's biggest show of the year, and a show that I will just start off by saying at the very top of this, a absolute home run for the promotion. I think anyone that watched this show can find something they enjoyed about it. And truth be told, I went into this with a clear mind, clear excitement, and I leave this show thinking this was a nice, new, clean slate for Stardom heading into 2025. This has been a long, long year, but I think everything came together to put on one of their great shows. I would say their best show of the year. And I'm very excited to see where we go here in the new year. If you're listening live, if you're listening later, please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know how you thought about the show, what your favorite match was, favorite moment, your excitement levels for 2025 in the world of Stardom. Throughout this show, I will be showing your comments. I'll be welcoming guests onto to the show to share their thoughts as well about this. So we will have comments, like I said. Thank you, Eternal, for joining. I'm doing great. I'm happy to talk about this show. Hello, Brad. Welcome to the chat. Still catching up on the show. The website actually has the replay up today. That's wonderful to hear. I wasn't sure how that replay was going to go. I know the first time they started using the new pay-per-view website, I wasn't able to see the show for like a whole day, and that was a bummer. So it's good to hear that they got the biggest show of the year up, and it's a great one to do so. I will also say today, just general thoughts of being online. This is probably the most I've seen multiple people talk about a Stardom show at the same time, which is a great thing. We are going to celebrate the many, many matches throughout the show. We're going to celebrate the many, many moments throughout the show. And of course, by the end of this show, we'll give a look at what 2025 looks like as well. Murphs, welcome. Thank you. I always love to have a good friend in the chat. Always love to see your comments. So much appreciated. I hope I say this right. Ryuji, best Stardom pay-per-view of the year for me. I agree. I 100% agree. They put on what I thought was, without a doubt, the best effort they've had start to finish in 2024. Pedro, welcome to the chat as well. Spirif, welcome to the chat evening. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing well as well. I'm feeling great. It's been a long time since I felt this jazzed about Stardom and where we're going. And again, that's why I went into this show with a clean slate. Lots of excitement to come out of it. So with that being said, let's get to the card itself, shall we? We will not be hitting the pre-show here today. We're going to keep it to the main card, but for what it's worth, Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori did defeat Chi-Chi and Matoya Hamabe, and we also had a 15-minute draw between the two rookies, Rana Yagami and Sayaka Carrara. So things to just know, but we're going to start off at the very top of this main card here today. And that, of course, started with the Goddesses of Stardom Championship. I was wondering going into the show, what would lead off? Would they give us one of the many singles matches on the show? Obviously, it wasn't going to be the Wonder or World of Stardom title match, but with Shuri and Konami on there, Maika and Natsuko Tora, Seriano, and Maika Wada as well. Were they going to consider one of those three? I think they made the perfect choice to lead off this show, and it really sets the show on such a good note. May I add, the crowd was loud, the crowd was packed, over 4,000 in attendance, an incredible number for Stardom here on December 29th, their annual Ryogoku Sumo Hall show. Just incredible. So since we're at each match, I'll say share your thoughts on the match in the chat. Let me know what you thought of this one. Um, Again, love having so many people here. Jeff, welcome. If you're not counting the GP, then maybe it's the best. I'm unsure. Yeah, the Shinjuku Face 5-star show probably is my favorite. But in terms of pay-per-views, I think this does probably take the cake for me for sure from Stardom. Good show overall. Happy for Wingori, SLK, and Saya. A little sad Poise title reign is over and the story match never started. Overall, 7.5 out of 10. I think that's a very fair grade. Justin, the show was great front to back, other than the 10-second match. We will talk about that, of course. Spirit was buzzing. USVA guy, hello gang. Let's talk about the greatness of Micah and Natsuko. Connor in the chat. Yep, let's go. Murph, make sure you cover Rian in depth. I do expect Peps to join sometime in the show, so we will surely get there. Aya and Uniman, my goats. I started watching at the Shuri match. They say it was an uphill battle from there. Yeah, that's a tough spot to jump in for sure. Um, I I was still in shock from that. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about what seemed to potentially have happened. Um, Pre-show went harder than it should have. Eternal enjoyed the match for what it was. One as good as I was hoping. Technically, already dragged it down and was in it too much. Um, My stock in Saida paid off big time. Wing Gory earned this one. A loud Stardom crowd is crazy. It's long overdue. It's why that Shinjuku Face show is probably my favorite, because there's such a loud, boisterous crowd. The GP opener and semifinal are the best. Um, Good match from Ryuji. The bump was a little too long. I agree. Saida was deserved a lot. 10-second match about um, the Shuri Konami match. And then think everyone was thrilled for Wingori, well earned. I absolutely agree. So this match, going into it, I was hoping a lot of the focus would be between Momo Watanabe and the other two. Like, if you listen to me enough, you know my thoughts on the Tekla heel run. It has not been my favorite per se. I think it's really watered her work down overall in terms of the actual wrestling, right? We've seen it through the Natsupoi feud. That just wasn't a good feud for that title reign. And I think it's a big reason why people kind of look at that title reign as just a wash, right? It was about the chase for Natsupoi rather than the reign itself. However, this match was built to build up Wing Gory. It wasn't once, it was twice. They had visual pins on the champions because of that ref bump. It made you cast doubt. Will they not get their moment because of the hate shenanigans? They started off from the rip on this show. I think this match hit the level, probably the top level I was expecting. I didn't think it was going to be a blow away tag match of the year contender, but it was all about Wing Gory. It was all about getting them over, and the crowd was so into them and everything they did that it ultimately worked in the end, right? Again, and listen, I know if you listen to my podcast, you've known my thoughts about hate from beginning to end this year. It's been very up and down. However, however, this show, the utilization of hate worked out in the favor of the baby faces more than once, and that is why you have heels. And I think there's an interesting conversation to be had by the end of this show about potential changing things up when it comes to the leadership. But of course, some things went a little bit unexpected for me, but this match, again, really strong. Saida, what a year. Hanan, what a year. I've said it and I'll say it again. I think Wing Gory were 100% Stardom's most consistent act, show in, show out, whether it was a house show, a pay per view, a Corkin, whatever it may be. They always showed up and delivered. It didn't matter their opponents. It didn't matter the size of the show. They always showed up and delivered. And I think this crowning moment where Hanan pins Tekla with the backdrop driver was perfect. I do personally think Tekla is probably on borrowed time here in Stardom. I'm guessing she does head to America like she is teased. So it was good to not obviously pin Momo Watanabe, who, by the way, of course, is in the Wrestle Dynasty match. So they did everything right, in my opinion, to get these titles on Wingori. And with that being said, now instantly the show kicks off with, oh, I can't wait to 2025 because Wingori is reigning over the Goddesses of Stardom tag division. That was my ultimate take from this show from the get go. And I thought they set it off perfectly. The moment for these two was truly amazing. I was so happy for them. You know, my fandom for these two, and they just had their moment. And honestly, that's what you look for at a show like this. You want to see people have their moment. And that's exactly what they did. Thought the match was quite enjoyable because of these two and the babyface power that they have and how much the fans were behind them. I thought this absolutely nailed it. Let's get to your comments. Um, so we're still talking about the Shuri match. Obviously, I was confused as hell after the Shuri match from Vacant Bjorn. What are they doing with Shuri? Her booking is sex for years now. It hasn't been good. This year was really rough because she had the great match of the year caliber bout, I thought, with Mayu Iwatani, and then just kind of did nothing from there, unless you looked outside the seedling spots she did during a recent Nakajima's retirement. I thought were fantastic. Yeah, so we'll kind of talk about we'll talk about the bits with Konami and Shuri a little bit later. It does look like there could have been an injury there, which is why they quickly rushed to that finish. Starting with hot crowd is a treasure. Listen, when they have a hot crowd, which is usually Korakuen or a Tokyo-based show, it is a great time, and this was a great time because of it. You just add emphasis to these shows, you add excitement to these shows, and that's what you want to see. Han and Ida are the ones. Biggest shout out to my goat, Sai Ida from Returnal. Shouts out. Justin Stein, every time Saya gets someone up on her shoulders, I was always hold out hope that she delivers a muscle buster. Me too. Me too. I'll agree to that. Um, to just continue with the comments here, can Stardom trade and Senjo trade Shuri for Iwata? It's a win-win for both. That that would be fascinating. It'd be a hell of a trade for Senjo, especially. But yeah, I really enjoyed um this match. I think it was again the perfect start. Just to people having conversations in the chat, so I'll continue on here, but a really strong way to kick off this show. Then we had a three-way quattro match. It was EXV, Mina Shirakawa, Waka Tsukiyama, Rian, and Hanako teaming up to face Saki Kashima, Tomoka Inaba, Hina, and Lady C of God's Eye to face Azusa Naba, Rina Ruaka, and Fukigen Death of Hate. This was used as a vehicle to get Mina Shirakawa a win ahead of her Wrestle Dynasty match against, of course, Mercedes Monet. So again, simple, get everyone on the card type match. I think there was a lot of frustration for some fans, maybe the AEW Stardom fans, seeing Mina Shirakawa and wondering why is she just in a nothing match. The reality is she's not around enough to, I think, build stories around her, which of course is a shame. But she did get the win here. The match itself, again, this was instead of a battle royal or a gauntlet match, we went with just the big tag. Harmless match, I think, overall. And yeah, I don't have too many thoughts about this one. But obviously, Brad does bring up a good point. I popped both pairs of sisters of God's Eye. I hate going at it with each other. That's always a lot of fun. That was nice to see. That was nice to see. Meta 3628 in the chat. Surprised we haven't run a Lady C versus Hanako singles yet. You know, you're probably right. You're probably right. That would make sense just to put the 2 tallest in a match, right? That would be a fun little probably undercard for something, but I don't know where they do it necessarily. Though they are pushing Hanako, so that could be a way to give her a win. From Sparif, will Mina be floating back and forth for a while? Is the move happening soon? I think the move's happening soon. There again, the contracts of Bushiroad signed companies are usually January or March. I think she would benefit from being in AEW more and not having to come back and forth. But it really is up to her. She's gotten really popular in America, so if she makes that decision, good for her. I have no problem with it. Her involvement doesn't hurt Stardom necessarily, but any match she's involved in just it almost feels like she's out of place at this stage. But before we continue on here, I am going to bring my first guest onto the show today in a recurring role from last year's Stardom Dream Queendom 2023 review. Bring up String Six Splash to the chat. Welcome, my friend. How did you enjoy this show?
A lot of good takeaways from this show, and thanks for having me on. Glad to be here for the second consecutive year. I'm glad I didn't go down the card, retain my status. So definitely great to be here talking about the finale of the year and what's to come.
Yeah, it was, I think, a show full of many successes in terms of building to 2025. I think when you watch a year-end show like this, or through the years, you want to set up the new year with excitement. You want to set up the new year with moments, and with the 3 title changes alone, I think they did that. They also got a debut on the show, which we'll talk about the oddness of the debut because of how it had to come about and the potential situation with that match, like I said. But you also had the crazy bloody brawl that I was afraid they wouldn't embrace, but they did, and it made it so much better. Um, so we'll move along here. I won't hold you for the entire review, and we'll get your overall thoughts on the whole show. But we did have
Sure.
an GP women's title match preview here. It was Mayu Iwatani, Momo Kogo, Hazuki, and Koguma falling to the Neo Genesis 4 of Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, Suzuki, and May Sarah. Azumi getting the pin on Momo Kogo. I couldn't help but just watch this match and say to myself, it feels like change is about in Stardom, right? You watch Wing Gory get the big win, Starlight Kids in the driver's seat to get the big win later in the night, and you're watching Mayu, Tani, and Azumi here, and you keep thinking to yourself, with Azumi's international popularity at this stage after her 2024 that saw her head to America to face Stephanie Vaquer for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship in a great match, that saw her appear on AEW and with Tony Storm in a very good match. Will they pull the trigger? It's the one trigger we're not sure, I think we can all agree on heading into Wrestle Kingdom. Will they be willing to do it? And I think the emphasis on making that move, again, you look at the stage that match is on, Wrestle Kingdom, Tokyo Dome. What bigger spot can you have to change and crown a new champion than that one? Now, because of the main event, maybe a spot is now freed up for a new IWGP champion elsewhere, but I still think Azumi deserves that spot. How did you enjoy this match and the preview ahead of Wrestle Kingdom?
What I enjoyed about this match and what you just said and the show overall is that it seems like Stardom is really committing to certain choices, committing to certain wrestlers. And you can kind of see, maybe I'm projecting a little bit, but Azumi has a certain look in her eye, a certain level of focus. And they put Azumi and Mayu in frame on camera, and they accentuate the build to this really, really titanic title match. I enjoyed the match overall. I liked the amount of ring time that Momo Kogo got, and she got to kind of spar with Azumi. Really happy to see Momo Kogo getting a little bit more emphasis now, even though she ended up taking the loss in this match. Made a ton of sense, but a strong match overall, a great preview.
I absolutely agree. with everything you said. I think when it comes to the decision making to crown someone like Azumi, obviously it is a big decision. Again, it's the IWGP letters, very prestigious over in Japan. So we'll wait and see. They have one more preview match that I do expect Mayu to win, get the momentum heading into Wrestle Kingdom one day before, but we will see here. Just to get to the chat real quick. Murph, I agree. Rena needs to have a productive 2025 step forward. That was one thing I kind of walked away from the show. Like, it's very weird she doesn't have a big spot on the show based on her year, right? Rena was heavily pushed. Future Stardom champion, New Blood Tag Team champion, longest reigning Future Stardom champion, by the way. And then she was just kind of thrown into that tag match. I was like, I think that's the one thing I would have changed about this card once it was all said and done is maybe get her in a more featured match. But again, this is she just turned 18. They have their time. And I think 2025, much like when Hanan got older, now you're going to push her and see what she can do in bigger spots now that the future of Stardom stuff and the new blood stuff is behind her. We had Hulk 076. Mina's getting that big push like Julia. Yeah, I think she does when she heads over to America. I agree. This podcast is about to cook. Thank you. I appreciate that. Connor, AW only has one women's match on the TV shows, and they just lost Rampage. So that is true. That is not great, for sure. A debut, and I went, "Who is this?" Yeah, we'll talk about that. Justin says the youth movement is in full effect. It absolutely is. This match slapped like expected with talents involved. I agree. Brad, all three titles change hands to homegrown talent. That's great to see. That I agree with. Neo Genesis has changed the game. If they pull the trigger, Sue's gonna be without a belt. Yeah, she is. Yeah, yeah. It's tough to be a Suzu Suzuki fan in the year 2024. Okay. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
just to jump in real quick. I mean,
yeah.
look at just her spot on the card right at what we're looking at. Compared to last year, she was in the main event for the red belt. And now I don't know, she was in the ring for more than 60 seconds.
No, she played fourth fiddle of her tag. You know, she was obviously Sarah, high speed champion, Miyu Amasaki, future champion, Azumi getting the focus as she heads into the title match. So you're absolutely right. There is a tough road, I think, for Suzu to get back anywhere towards the top. I think her best bet is probably through tag team competition right now, which is kind of heartbreaking after last year, but it is what it is. Give Neo Genesis all the belts. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. They have three. Um, eh, Unfortunately for Azumi, I think there's someone who's newly in need of a belt after last night. You're probably right. Tam can't go that long without one. I would absolutely love to see it. Kimomo worked off her butt here. Great shout from Colin. I think Momokogo had yet another strong showing. I know someone had commented on one of my tweets regarding this match. They'd love to see her get some sort of big opportunity in the new year. Obviously, coming off the high speed match, which I thought was really good, and her performance here, I'd also like to see her get that opportunity. Please, New Japan, give 20 minutes at least for Mayu Tani versus Azumi. I don't want to be the person to ruin your day. There's like 0% chance that happens, unfortunately. I'll be happy with 10 based on the first one. We get anywhere near 15, then stealing the show is very much in play here. If I recall SLK's comments, it was something I want to look back at when it said we have all the titles. Yes, it was. Originally, she wanted her whole group to have the title, so that is correct. We have so many comments, but we'll keep going here. Azumi wins it 4 out of 5. You're right. Call continued praise for Kimomo, which is great to see. Rena straight up Yuashino mindset regarding her title reigns. I think Maya will get big moment at Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, there's a chance. There's definitely a chance, but we'll see. Again, you and me have talked about this before multiple times. Crowning Azumi is an opportunity to really give a push to someone who I think is ready for that spot, right? And I think it's worth considering, because Mayu's had her moments. Mayu gets to wrestle in the dome on Wrestle Kingdom. For her, that's all she wanted last year, right? And I think there is something to be said about taking this opportunity to give her the shot. Connor, personally, I want Mayu to go to Marigold. She'd be my first choice to beat Saori in a big show. Tommy second for now. Jan Lucci, my queen, is finally champion. I don't know which I'm gonna assume Saya because that's her nickname. But that could be anyone. There's a lot of there was a lot of new champions. Hazuki just there on big shows doesn't work for me, brother. Hopefully, SLK's future big opponent, unfinished business. I agree. There was a missed opportunity following the Mercedes Monet match. I think where I knew she wasn't gonna have a big match on this show, but I think that January 3rd show there could have been certainly something to give her an opportunity. Um, so yeah, I love Hazuki, obviously. So I agree. Velke, no matches under the top three of the Tokyo Dome will have more than 10:30 runtime. Go back and look at the history of Tokyo Domes. For example, Keiji got 11 minutes on his last New Japan show. Yeah, it's not looking good for Azumi and Mayu to get too much time, but I'm just hoping for the most possible, which probably isn't again that much. But let's move forward here. And for you, I'll get your whole thoughts on the show once we get to the next match because I think that's a good pause point to break into the rest of the show. However, let's talk about this. Sayoriano versus Miko Wada for the 5th time this year because 3 wasn't enough, 4 wasn't enough. We needed 5. Shout out to Big E Langston. This was very good. I very much enjoyed this match, considering how many matches they've had, considering how exciting could this be? Again, you're wrestling for a 5th time, no title involved. I think it's kind of difficult when an outsider comes into Stardom because, as you could feel, I think in this match, the reactions aren't as strong for an Owada match as they were, of course, for say Micah and Natsuko Tora or the main event or the semi-main event, which again, those were bigger matches, but still the crowd, you could hear a pin drop once in a while during this match. But what did they do? How do we win the crowd? How do we win the fans? We just throw bombs at each other. That is what Sayoriano and Miko Wada did in this match. They slapped the taste out of each other's mouths. They hit suplexes. Um, Back and forth they go. Ultimately, Sayoriano wins with the pottering, as she often does. A second pottering, I should say, in the match. The only scary part is Wada did kind of tease this wasn't it between the two. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. That's fine. You're 2-2-1. I understand after this year, but we're good for now. Let's take a break. How did you enjoy this match considering it was the 5th edition for them, but only the 2nd in Stardom? So maybe that also helped them a bit as well.
I definitely think keeping this on Stardom ground helped the match. And yes, it wasn't the most over match, but got a rare Saori chant, not the loudest chant of the night, but they were behind her because I think what Mika provides for Saori, other than a limitless number of matches on and on and on, is that she's the one person that really gets to Saori. She makes Saori feel fear. She makes Saori feel this hesitation, this trepidation. And the indomitable girl who's known for not overly emoting has a rare nemesis here that puts her in this dramatic position where she is so up against the wall that for me, it actually gives something to her matches that I almost can't get elsewhere. So I also enjoyed this match. I was a little nervous that I would be higher on it than absolutely everybody else. But for us to be in the position we're at where we've seen them clash so many times, and then for them to still have something to offer, I think is really cool. Again, like you just mentioned, the fact that the story is going to continue does leave me in a bit of a limbo state. But I'm kind of curious if Mika's going to have maybe a stronger position on the Stardom cards moving forward. I'm trying to make sense of where they're going, but if it's just one-on-ones for an eternity, I'll at least not be surprised.
Yeah, I think it's what is fascinating to me as someone who has watched her entire year, there is something to be said that she has a very natural fit in Stardom. There are times in her overall run this year that I've thought she has under-delivered, but in her 2 matches in Stardom, I thought she's lived up to kind of my hopes and expectations, which is great. Um, and she's very good, so, like, that always helps as well, but, Sariano is always a fascinating wrestler, I think, when it comes to the Stardom realm because she's for me doesn't feel like a roster member still. She still feels like a freelancer. I know she is signed and she's part of Cosmic Angels and all this, but she does feel different from the rest of the roster, especially when the crowds react the way they do. Like you said, a kind of surprise Saori reaction almost, but it was nice to see because she's put in a lot of work. She's won a lot of titles with this promotion. She gets another big win here, which I think sets her up to be a potential challenger for the new World of Stardom champion, whether it be February or I think February is probably the best bet based on their current schedule. We'll get to the comments again. Colin, I love this match, even though it was the fifth one. Yeah, that's fair. My favorite match on the show was with SLK and Poi. The headbutt battle put me on my feet. That was great. Brad, I think it was possibly the best of the 5 matches. Very, very good. These women just beat the holy hell out of each other. I think where they benefited for sure um, is that it was shorter than I think all of the other ones, except for maybe the other Stardom match. And in those, they went 20 plus. You know, one of them was a time limit draw. This was really about let's just hit each other with everything we got and see what happens. So I agree. Put Mika in God's Eye with Shuri. That would be a hell of a. I'll just be honest. She ain't leaving said that, girls, folks. Like it's not happening. Mako's retiring. Yeah, it's not happening. But it's nice to think if she keeps coming in, maybe she can get part of faction. Connor, agree with me. Both Saori and Mika are good wrestlers, but 5 times this year, 4 times within 6 months. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for I think, and again, I said this in the previews. I don't want to see many combinations wrestle 5 times in a year. Like it, you know, I jokingly said Mayu and Io, and then I was like, well, hold on. But like, there's different combinations. It's hard to see that. But let's get to the next match here. Obviously, a big talking point throughout the night. Absolutely pie in my face. I had tweeted a picture of Shuri that says "Big Match Shuri." It's been far too long, and then within seconds of the match, it ended 33 seconds official. That is what they posted. Do not question me. I know it felt like 2. But you have to count the craziness. So obviously very upsetting. Like you know, you and me had talked on your preview, and it's funny because I had been in and out on Konai. I was like, I don't know what she's gonna bring to the table here, but she is wrestling Shuri. If she's gonna bring it, this is when she's gonna bring it. And she never even got a chance to bring it. I'll tell you what, though, the match started off hot. Jumping knee, 2 kicks to the head, but it seems like, and again, we don't know for sure, but it seems like one of those might have caught Konami good, and they pivoted very quickly and led to the disqualification, which again was a real shame. In the moment, I just had said, like, what the hell was that? Like, I didn't realize the injury. I had to go back and watch it, but like you could see, like, she looked a bit out of it. Again, don't want to assume anything, but it seemed like that was the pivot made, which was a real shame. Obviously, I think this is the real only low point of this show, and it was a low point that, if we have to assume, was based on a safety measure. And then, of course, it leads to the very abrupt and difficult debut of the former great wrestler, actress, girls wrestler Maya Fukuda, who is now going by the name Kyoko Katatsu. So brand new name for her. She has to join God's Eye. She came in throwing kicks. It was really confusing because like we had all these people in the ring. I was like, oh, who's that? Like I wasn't really paying attention. I was like, oh, who's like taking their spot? Like good for I don't know. I just wasn't really paying attention. Then I look, I was like, wait a minute, that's that's not a Stardom wrestler. That's Maya Fukuda, who of course had left late months ago. a fascinating addition to the roster. She is someone who I was very high on once upon a time, and she decided sometime as a member of GLEAT she was only going to do UWF matches and their MMA stuff. And I said, "Oh, well, that seems like a lost cause for me until she gets serious." But that's not going to happen in Stardom, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see Katatsu now join the ranks. Let me ask you just about everything that happened here. What was your initial reaction to the match, followed by a debut that I know for a lot of people they said, I don't know who this is. Um, which
Yeah,
again,
I was
not
one of those
probably
people. Shamefully, I was one of those
it's
people that
not
said
your
that.
fault. Not many people were watching Glee, so I don't blame you. So, like, what was your overall reaction to how this all went down?
Sure. So I'll give my initial reaction in the moment, live, and then in retrospect. So live, obviously, a lot of confusion, disappointment. If this was the intended booking of the match and the intended conclusion, it's
Sure.
possibly the worst booked match, single match of the year.
Yeah.
Um, and to have
Which is a
hate,
follow-up to their first one, by the way, which was also terribly done.
and to have hate storm the ring, almost, I think it was almost their full roster, just blitz everyone inside. And because Shuri has at least one instance of grabbing the mic, and or maybe Utami was the person that said this, and saying, "No, the match is not over the way we just had it. Let's do it. Let's try again."
Sure.
I almost thought maybe they were booking it that way,
I
but
did too.
not the case, obviously. Now, in retrospect, the unfortunate case is that this seems to not have been how the match was booked, and if you look how Konami falls after that buzzsaw kick, that second head kick, but almost more notably how people outside of the ring are paying attention and seeming confused.
Mm.
And as Shuri is giving her mic promo at the end, anybody you see outside of the ring is looking at Konami, who's over there by the apron and just staring in her direction,
Yeah.
trying to assess. And President Okada seemed very sort of confused and trying to understand what was going on. And he actually leaves the table towards the end. So it seems like this was just an unfortunate incident. Hopefully Konami's all right. And in a strange way, this is the one feud that still has the door open potentially for them to revisit it next year.
Yeah.
And a real tough spot for this new wrestler to emerge and try to impromptu give this promo earlier than anticipated with so much uncertainty. So I give her a lot of credit. I actually give everybody a lot of credit. Another piece of evidence is that we don't usually see all of hate mob the ring that quickly and take everybody out. So it kind of points to everybody working very quickly, improvising, and doing what they had to do. So I give my hats off to everybody, and hopefully everything works out later on.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. In terms of just the professionalism, I think to have handled this from everyone. I'm just imagining Katatsu is her name now, in the back, just be like, get out there, go. It's like we're gonna do this surprise, and it's like, oh, we need you to run in ASAP, and it just felt wild, and she has to cut this promo instantly, and not a easy situation for everyone. Like I said, the one like downside of this, but in terms of what it seemed like, it was the obvious smartest decision to go with. Just a shame for both Shuri and Konami. This was their big match and at the big show. So it was a bit of an upset there. We'll talk about more here. Um I did not take a single second of this debut. Yeah, it was a debut where I was like, "What is happening?" I was just like, "Hold on, did I miss something?" Yeah, it was crazy. It was just too much going on. Yeah, I was confused. Thought it was a Naba. That the initial like just not seeing the face just kind of made me think like, oh yeah, I've seen a Naba dress like that. Like sure. Maya Fukuda definitely has the look to be marketable for Stardom at least. Yeah, she is someone who I know was popular enough in Glee, but it's Glee, so like, come on now. But I'm not familiar with her, but from the few clips I saw across Twitter, she seemed like a nice pickup and a good member for God's Eye. Yeah, if she was joining the promotion, this is the group I'd put her in because of her background. I think Velke does hit it on the head. She needs a lot of training to be a pro wrestler because of what she was doing in Glate just was kind of so far away from that. It was a lot of MMA. But with the background and the uh kicks that she brings to the table, like if it's gonna work, it's gonna work in God's eye, which I think is the most important part here. But my friend, let's talk quickly, just get your thoughts about the rest of the show, in terms of one, just your favorite match overall. Two, what are you looking forward to most heading into the new year? And I'll get you the third one once you're done with those. So I won't stack them all on top of each other.
Ooh,
What
suspense. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Some
yeah,
build up. All right. You do watch wrestling. Okay.
I
So
do.
favorite match of the night. And I'm gonna really try to avoid using the phrase emotional high or emotional high point for this, but absolutely needs to be the culmination of Starlight Kid, the crowning of Starlight Kid as the Wonder of Stardom champion, her match with Natsupoi, which so many things to say about it. The crowd was so behind Starlight Kid in this match. It seemed like when the match ended, everybody you could think of, from Natsupoi to Kid to Daichi to the fans to the commentators, were just so worked up in an emotional sense with this moment. And what they did in the match, I really appreciated as well. This is sort of a culmination of their technical abilities, their abilities to craft a match and tell a story, with the added bonus of everything leading up to this, historically speaking, and so forth. So I use a phrase that this has most of the trappings of what I would call an infamous match, where we have very high stakes, we have a long-standing rivalry, and we have a very special moment in time. And this really just checks all of those boxes. And the crowd, just overjoyed to hear you say that they're over 4,000 strong, that just had all the types of responses you want. You want them biting on these moments. You want them getting behind the challenger. You want them hanging on every single second. And all of that happened. It was just a great cathartic experience. And its position in the card, juxtaposing some of the other things that happened, let it be the very, very peak positive moment of this show. And neither
Yes.
the match before it nor the match after it dared try to contest it on that level. So how they structured the entire show also is very clever and indicative of why this one stands out so much.
Yeah, I think that's obviously a great point in terms of allowing it to stand on its own with how the results of the match before it, match after it went. This was the night for Starlight Kids babyface super win moment, and I think that's very important. While there were other moments on the show, she presents the lighter babyface side now at the top, while of course the Phoenix Queen goes elsewhere with her reign as
Yeah,
champion.
if I can jump in, I'll tie that into your second question. Like, what am I most looking forward to? So I mentioned at the top of this how it seems like Stardom is committing to certain things, and I was pleased to see that Saya Kamitani is also committing to something. She's really taking this character to the extreme, to the heelish extreme,
Mhm.
emphasizing how deranged she can be, how tricky she can be, how manipulative she can be, how callous and cruel she can be. All of that was absolutely showcased in the main event. And what it does now, especially when we think of Natsuko Tora's match, is it makes you wonder, what lengths will Saya Kamitani go
Sure.
to trick or to deceive not only her opponents, but possibly to manipulate the people within her own faction. They have put her in a very intriguing place. You mentioned Sauriano being a likely challenger. I wonder if perhaps Saori is the most likely challenger at this stage with how the show has unfolded. And I just want to throw in one more thing before the third question, which I'm almost picturing the Stardom like board of directors meeting as they're trying to book, this show, that the beginning of next year. And it's, finally, as they led up to the final match of 2024, they finally decided to ask the question, what would it be like if we booked Natsuko Tora strongly? And so they pulled the trigger. It's a little late, but they did make that choice. And so now we're looking at Tora and Kamitani as threats to the protectors of Stardom. And that's a good place to be for 2025.
Yeah, it felt like the moments for hate that should have happened a while back, if that makes sense, right? Obviously, Natsuko won the World of Stardom Championship. I'm not acting like that didn't happen, but the way that was handled, then Saya Kamitani, going heel and then losing the 5-star final was just a mixture of, all right, so that's fine. We'll move on from that type thing. It's difficult to juggle, I think, what they have juggled all years, and it's why I'm treating the show as the clean slate, right? It feels like instead of the ups and downs in the booking, they now have their champions in place, the way they want to book for the next however many months, and clear paths for certain matches,
Yeah.
right? You look at All Star Grand Queendom at Yokohama Arena, April 27, 2025. To me, the direction feels like it's either Saya or Tam rematch. I don't think so. Or Saya Kamatani and Micah, the match that, of course, has felt build up, obviously, through the 5-star final. And Micah's shortcoming kind of puts her on track to turn it around over the next 4 months. But my final question for you before I let you go here and start bringing on some other guests onto the show. I talk about clean slate. I talk about 2025. We talked about all the good things that happened on this show. Give me one thing you are hoping to see from Stardom in this next couple months, because there is something about having a great show and crowning new champions, but there is the follow up that always matters, right? The follow up after the big major show that keeps the momentum going. What would you like to see from Stardom? Obviously, very loaded question. You could say multiple things if you want, uh, but I think it's important because, again, as I sit here excited for 2025, there's so many different things I'd like to see. There's so many different directions I'd like them to go, but I'd like to hear what you're thinking in terms of the new year post Stardom Dream Queendom 2024.
Okay, I'll throw out a couple. Just two quick ones here. So I mentioned the Kamitani sort of character extreme that we're seeing. She's lost her mind. She's completely lost it. She was broken by the events that preceded the match. She was broken by the former injury last year, and now she's utilizing all of that pain, all of those tragic instances to her gain, so that she can hold this belt over Tam and hold her boot over everyone in Stardom. I want them to stick with that because we've talked a little bit about Saya Kamitani's mic performances, her ability to hype up matches, and in some sense, as she turned heel, she almost waffled this way and that with what was the cause of the turn and what she is trying to accomplish and who she actually is. I want her to, stay the course, so to speak,
Sure.
with the level she's got this at, and just go at people and and be as cruel as possible. That moment where she called Tam back into the ring to put the belt around her waist, echoing what had happened 3 years prior, but with such a different context and such a malicious context. I want this kind of storytelling. And then the second thing, which I think I've just forgotten. Okay. The second thing I want them to do, which I think they did an excellent job of this year, is continue to place a focus on the rookies, the younger wrestlers, the newer wrestlers. Give them an opportunity to connect with these crowds. Don't keep them separate from the other faction intrigue, and put them in these title pictures. Someone mentioned Rena's 2025. For me, she's one of the top 3 candidates for a white belt challenge alongside Hanan and Hazuki this coming year. So I just want them to keep these people in the ring, on camera, and let's see what they can do and how the crowd responds.
Yeah. Yeah. I like all points you made there. I think you are absolutely on it, especially with the Saya Kamitani aspect. You know, this is a wrestler that I again, I still part of me knows that a big major baby face would have been made from her following her summer. But they pivoted. She pivoted. She seems to be having an absolute blast in this role. So for that, I give her credit. And for that, based on her performance on this show and the way she handled herself post match, you want to see that, like you said, continue. You want to see her kind of be this big headed, evil emperor over stardom that when the moment comes and someone takes her down, it's going to be worth it, right? It's essentially what Tora could have been when she won the title, but she didn't wrestle in the 5-star, then proceeded to lose to Tam. I think that is a direction we could be going. We
Yeah,
should be
and one
going.
point that actually, just to emphasize something you talked about with this whole leadership of hate
Mhm.
intrigue, is that Saya didn't trick Tam or Daichi or the doctor by having outside people get involved and get in the mix and distract. She tricked everyone all on her own, and
Yep.
she took out the red belt champion. And I think that's going to be a distinction that we're going to notice psychologically between Saya Kamitani, who is not currently a faction leader, but is a red belt champion, and Natsuko Tora, who is not a champion but is the faction leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one other thing from all this is Momo Watanabe should turn babyface. Thank you, everyone. I'll get to that a little bit
Can
later
I
on.
jump in with that just
Yeah,
real fast before you kick me out? So an unlikely third candidate for that All-Star Grand Queendom show next year is actually, for me, Momo Watanabe. Stardom is doing a lot of mirror image booking where, something
yeah,
this year will reflect something exactly 1 year prior, or someone who was in a certain position last year is in a very similar position the following year. And
sure.
if Saya is going to be this callous, selfish, manipulative person, we did see. You made a great point about Momo not taking the pinfall, but she did screw up in that match. She swung her
Yeah.
bat and she hit a target that was not her intended target. So yet another error for Momo and yet another championship match loss. So
Mhm.
I actually think there is something interesting about putting her in All-Star Grand Queendom again,
Yeah.
and this time facing Saya Kamitani. And this is a mirror image of some of the things that they've done. Momo has been the one tricking Saya in the past. So if they do pull the trigger on something like this, I think there could be a lot there.
Mm. Yeah, there is a story to be told, following the Momo failures, but also you have to remember back to the summer where Saya spent all this time trying to get Momo to her side, and now perhaps she's seeing the failures and we get rid of her from her side. Maybe that is someone who actually makes Saya Kamatani weaker rather than stronger. So again, a story to play to here. But thank you so much for joining me here today. I'd like to give you a few minutes here to let people know where they can find you, what you have going on, what you have coming up. Obviously, you cover Stardom in depth on your YouTube channel. So let people know what to expect and what you got coming up here in the new year.
Absolutely. Well, I really appreciate your time having me on. Very happy to be here for the second year in a row. This is a blast, and glad to have you appearing on my channel periodically. Maybe we can be a little less sparse in the future, but we'll see. So anyway, if you want to hear more from me, everyone, String Six Splash is the name of my channel. It's the word string, the number six, the word splash, over on YouTube, also on Twitter/X. And I'm definitely grateful to be on this stream. Just FYI, I will be having a Stardom live stream tonight at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern to talk more Queendom. Please show up and tune in. Got a very special guest, the legendary Meerkat Ultra. So we're going to talk all of these same details and topics and get Meerkat's perspective on them. So please tune in. String Six Splash.
Fantastic. Everyone, go and check that out. More Stardom is always welcome, right? Especially after a show like this. Thank you so much for joining me. I wish you the best. We'll have you again on soon, I'm sure. There's a lot going on, like I said.
Yeah.
We'll make it less sparse, not once a year.
Right.
Okay. All right. Have a good one, my
Okay.
friend.
Yeah, you take it easy.
All right, everyone. We'll get back now to the rest of the card here. Of course, that goes to Micah versus Natsuko Tora. Um, to just get back to the comments here, um, All-Star Grand Queendom would sell 6,500 tickets if they run this, which was Rion beating Fukuda up, by the way. Brad, being the huge Cosmic Angels fan that I am, the results in the last two matches weren't what I wanted, but I'm so happy for SLK. She has the work rate to take this title to the next level. We'll talk about that in a second here. Anna will be busy rematching Awada, I think. But you do support that match. I think high speed should be Rina's next big step. It's a possibility. It wouldn't be her first time diving in this. Can we already do a Rena white belt reign? I don't think it's crazy to do so. Yes, Taro Okada can now declare this his stardom for being clear of the Ross year as we start a first full year of this regime. And again, that's why I look at this as clean slate, right? We move on from 2024, a year of ups and downs, craziness, and I think that'll benefit all sides of the Joshi realm, right? There's no more of the comparisons. You just look at this now as what Stardom is. Of course, booked by Taro Okada and led by the Saya Kamitanis and Micahs of the world. I think that's perfectly fine and a good thing. Connor, if possible, I want to see Saya Kamitani title reign match quality, her white belt title reign match quality. Don't know if that's possible now, especially since she's healed. Yeah, that'd be great. I agree with you. But since we're here at Micah versus Natsuko Tora, and by the way, if you're in the chat, let me know what your thoughts were on this match. I think this match was among people's many, many favorites. And it's only right that we dive into this match and I bring on my good friend Peps to talk about it. Obviously, with Micah being the one involved, it's only right. That's when Peps gets the tag in here. I Timing's everything for me, and I make sure to have you ready to go for a moment like this. Obviously, you and me had done the preview on the five-star Joshi show earlier this week, talking about this match in particular. And I'm going to be honest, Peps, you know me long enough. You know my thoughts on Micah throughout this year. That's been very up and down. I didn't love the full on change up from the 5-star on that she did with her character, and it doesn't matter now because I left this match saying this is everything I needed. This is the Micah I'm ready to see as the new ace of this promotion, which is obviously what they're setting her up to be, right? They channeled the Queen of Villains, as I continuously say. That show being a thing, I swear, brought blood back to Joshi, and it's been a beautiful thing. So Peps, I will let you go first. How did you enjoy Micah versus Natsuko Tora? Despite Micah, I think shockingly, coming up short, but doing so in a very, very strong fashion.
First of all, I want to say hello to everyone in live chat, and so I'm glad to be here, like always. And well, we talked about it in the preview, and I think most of the people who are listening to this show listened also to the preview. And I doubted Micah in this one. I was like, pretty much the talk into this match for me was okay. Micah's not the biggest brawler in the world. She's not like that good at it. We have seen that in the Momo Watanabe match.
Sure.
So I was wondering what they will do different here. And well, they added blood, they added Natsuko Tora, and it was awesome.
That's true. That's exactly what they did. Yeah, we should give the flowers to Natsuko. What a
I have a
match.
pitch later. But we will come to that.
Okay. Yeah, what a performance from Natsuko Tora. I'm going to want to praise Mike obviously here because I do think this did so much for her character moving forward. And, the crowd was going crazy for her, which again, this is why they've gone with her. It's been this way since the end of last year where she got the World of Stardom Championship. But this felt like this was mirroring that and going to another extreme that should push her forward. And coming up short here is actually, I think, very beneficial for her after the undefeated 5-star run because it helps Natsuko Tora, it helps Micah, and it sets up continuation, I'm guessing, of these two going at it, which is fascinating, I think, to me. This match, obviously the blood is the highlight and rightfully so from both of them. Micah had the Crimson Mask going. I said time and time again, I didn't know if they'd go this extra mile, right? We saw it with the Micah Watanabe match. They avoided blood all around. We've seen it with Natsuko Tora in these matches, right? She had the one with Julia earlier this year. They didn't have any blood or anything. It was a fine, fun, straight up DQ match. This one, however, this no DQ match, they just went for it. And it was the best surprise on this show was this match and how it delivered. I thought this match brought this show from, oh, this is really good, to this is great. This is going to be a great show. You know, obviously we're depending on the last two matches after this, but it elevated to this has the potential to truly be great. And you just watch what these two did. Right, the chair shots to the head. Was it a fan that Micah kept hitting Natsuko with?
Yes, it was a big
Yeah,
fan that she carries around
yes.
the death matches,
Which
hardcore
which
matches.
which was the first time she hit Natsuko with that was nasty. She swung for the fences on that one. I was like, oh my god. And obviously there's something just great about the limited hate aspect in this that again allowed Micah and Natsuko to tell their story. And in the end, right, kick out after kick out from Micah, to the point where when she did get pinned, I was like, oh, we're gonna get another kick out. She's gonna come back and win. And that wasn't the case. And I think again, when you leave a match and both are winners, that is a great accomplishment. That is a great match, and that's what this did for Micah and Natsuko. Two wrestlers who I'd argue both needed a win on this show, right? We talked about Natsuko and the handling of her, right? Wins the World of Stardom title, then loses it to Tam immediately after not wrestling in the 5-star. Micah goes through an undefeated 5-star just to lose to Tam. They both walk out of this winners. Was this your favorite match of the show?
Yes, by far. And well, obviously why, but I also believe if you just look at how the match was worked, especially from Micah's side, it fit to the feud itself. Micah's normally someone, especially with her power moves, that is trying to have a more impressive move rather than a devastating move. Like especially with her um God, what's it called? Superplexes. Like normally she always lifts him high in the air, keeps him up to get the shots, photo shots in for all the fans on Twitter, and then she just hits him normally. But if you have seen, like, the clip went viral a couple of times, she snapped Tora right in. She didn't bother trying to hold her up anything. She just wanted to kill her, and I believe that just fit perfectly into entire story to try to tell. Micah stepping into Natsuko Tora's field, even though Tora lost all her no DQ matches in Stardom, but that's another topic. Stepped in Tora's field and tried to, well, destroy her at her own game, but in the end couldn't do it because Tora is Tora and more experienced in that. And it worked just well for what it was in the spot it was, and totally over delivered. And like you said, it helped both, especially of course Micah, because I think that was the proof that her getting over and her getting the push wasn't a failure in terms of the booking. Like they still love her, they still want to see her in the big spots, even after they gave her everything they could. I mean, we obviously talked about the 5-star. We also talked about her like 7-month long World of Sun title reign. I want to say her title reign with the world title was longer than any title reign of Tam and Julia with the World of Sun title. Like that's how far they pushed her. And giving your top face a setback is something so simple in storytelling that you sometimes just need to do, so that you have this heel that she needs to overcome and now needs to fight back instead of just winning, because we have seen in the rest, like, winning is boring pretty much for fans. Fans want to see struggles, fans want to see drama, and that is how you create drama. You had Micah getting destroyed with the bloody face, with the mist, getting carried out by Mina Shirakawa at the end, understanding ovation and loud chants. That's like what you want from a babyface. And now she can come back to it they can either run this one back instantly before she challenges for the World of Sign again, or she wins the title and then they run this back. Like, you have multiple options now how to get back to it, and it feels like that the third Tora versus Micah match will be an even bigger one than this one.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you're saying. You know, winning can be boring. Maybe that was, you know, again, part of my problem with the packaged Micah, right? The new entrance music, the new look, all this goes undefeated, and then just lose. It's like, okay, sure. But this, and even watching this match, I was all in on it if she won. But the fact that she lost just again gives her a whole new realm, and I think that's what makes 2025 again very exciting, right? We've talked about this. You know, people know my thoughts on Micah. This was the most into it I've been because now I see a road ahead for her that makes a ton of sense, right? I'm sure you're in agreement with me that her and Saya Kamitani is very likely the Yokohama Arena main event, unless again Taro has proven time and time again there can be pivots, right? Don't expect anything, but it feels like the destination, at least for Saya Kamitani's title reign right now.
Yes, like if we just look ahead at Micah's road and also at Tora's road, because it's as interesting because now she has gotten a big win, and it would pretty much play into her being the next contender for one of the belts sooner than later again.
Sure.
And there comes my pitch. I think they're running Natsuko Tora for Saya Kamitani for the red belt.
That is interesting.
I don't know when, because they have not really announced the full schedule yet for the big shows. They have one in Tochigi in Hanan's hometown and the other sisters. And I think the next one is then the Cinderella, and then you have also Grand Queendom. And I don't think they're running heel versus heel in Yokohama Arena, because that is just too risky to run.
Sure.
And the story is just not told enough for Stardom to justify that, because they love these big stories in the main events once they have to build them up. So my guess is the Ottawa show, Cinderella final. That could be a place where they just maybe run this, maybe put the hate leadership on the line or something like that, because I think that would be something interesting to tell. If not only hate fights of Stardom, but also fights of itself, because, well, in the end, you have here with Natsuko Tora and Saya Kamitani two crazy people in their head for different reasons, right? That both want to be on the top of Stardom, who both want this power that they have as the leader of hate. So I believe that could be something they will be telling before they get eventually to the obvious Micah Kamitani match.
I think it's very
happening for sure.
I think that's very interesting. It's part of the show that I had talked about through the previews this week. Is I want to come out of this show with that as a possibility, right? The questioning of leadership and the direction of leadership for hate, and now it's Saya as champion, but Natsuko also winning. I think there's a real opportunity here to go down that road if they want to. Just to get a few comments here. Murphs was, of course, asking thoughts on Rian. I knew that was coming.
She's the greatest of all time. No, second greatest of all time.
Brad commented, Suzu tweeting out her love of blood after this match made me smile. Let her get the next match like this and see the number climb. You know, I did think about that watching this. I was like, I feel like this is kind of Suzu's, wheelhouse if they want to embrace it, but they got to build her up right now.
You see, but it's very funny that her biggest rival in the company is getting it instead of her.
Yeah,
after already getting the
funny.
After already getting the world title that she was supposed to get.
You say funny, I say painful. And then Brad said the match was awesome. Tora was so beast here, and Mike stepping out of her comfort zone was great to see. But yeah, we kind of highlighted the directions these two can now go with a third potential match on the horizon.
Oh yeah.
I
Also,
I
I don't know
yes.
if it was brought up it's in the Stardom thing or if it was the Tokyo Sports thing, but they started to nickname Tora the Rava Evil Queen, which is obviously Evil Queen, the nickname of Dump. Now she's the
Mhm.
Rava Evil Queen. I don't know if that was brought up before in Stardom, but that is a really cool nickname. I hope to keep that. Like,
Interesting.
not only Tokyo Sports thing, but also in the Stardom Cosmos.
Sure. That'd be cool. I like that a lot. Um, but let's now move forward here. Oh, obviously had to get a great photo. This was the photo that I was like, yeah, this match is unreal. Doesn't matter what happens from here. Um, just incredible scenes going on. But then we had this one also got me good. I was like, she looks badass here. Um, and then there's Rihanna in the back, which obviously pops you. Let's move forward now here to the Wonder of Stardom Championship match. I'll be having one more guest join the broadcast here soon. We'll probably get Velke in for the main event. So let's talk about Natsupoi and Starlight Kid. Like I said, if you're in the chat, feel free to let us know your thoughts on this match and the crowning of a new Wonder of Stardom champion. This title has been, I think, in desperate need of a great title reign. And unfortunately, Natsupoi was not the women to do that. Of course, her reign had the Hazuki match, but then went into the multiple months of feuding with Tekla that I think really hurt it, and just not a lot of defenses. So it ultimately came about the moment rather than the reign itself. And when we went into this show, there was no doubt in my mind that Starlight Kid should be walking out as the new Wonder of Stardom champion to follow up what String Six Splash said earlier here. This was probably my favorite match of the night. Um, it was close between this and the previous match. But this went to that level that I want the Wonder of Stardom championship to go. It was very reminiscent of, you know, 2021, 22, where it just felt like we were having one of these each and every month. Um, Starlight Kid is the star that I think and makes all the sense that they should be pushing. Um, again, I headline this, I highlight this. You need to push the future now. That is what they're doing, giving Starlight Kid her moment and a very emotional moment at that. They had all the big kickouts, all the big moments. You know, Starlight Kid gets Natsupoi in the what does she call the desperado thing?
Uh oh, God,
The
I don't
leg.
know.
Yeah,
Like
but
like a leg kill. No,
yeah,
but
the leg
I think
killer. I think it's the leg killer. Yeah, she gets her in that. A great back and forth there where she continuously rolls away from the ropes and continues to make Natsupoi struggle. Obviously, we were going to work to the Natsupoi arm bar that she so desperately needed to add right when this reign came about.
Mhm.
Very random. Um, but ultimately for me, it just captured the big match that Stardom often does because this felt more like that than I think either the match before this, obviously with the blood and everything, or of course the main event, which went down a completely different road, a Tam road, I'd argue. Um, the only critique I have for this match was kicking out at one on the Eternal Foe. That was my main like, all right, man, like that's a big move. I enjoy that move. I was ready for that to end the match. But it's fine. She hit the tombstone at one point. Shout out to Mayu Utani. That was a nice spot there, and ultimately did get the win on Natsupoi. Like I said, my favorite match had all the drama, had all the near falls, but ultimately had the right winner with Starlight Kid getting her moment finally. Um, an emotional moment, like I said at that. Peps, what was your thoughts on the match and the moment of Starlight Kid finally climbing to the top and winning the Wonder of Stardom championship?
I think I said it in the preview. I at least wrote it in my preview. Like every other title change, like is okay, but this one was the needed one because you need to go all in with Starlight Kid. especially after the face turn, especially after all the opportunities that you had in a couple of years with her, and you didn't pull the trigger yet. But now it was the time, and it was in a match that I believe was one of the best of Starlight Kid in terms of
Yeah.
like her career. She doesn't
Mhm.
have that many big matches on a high level, so like you have the Azumi matches, I believe the Julia match and the Mayu match in the 2022 5-star, and then
Yep.
it's the match against Natsupoi for me personally.
Yeah, I agree.
And it was really good work. I thought the limp work, they love to introduce limp work in starter matches for some reason now, and most of them are just okay. But
Yeah.
they lead to nothing really. Like you had in the end, pretty much. I wouldn't call it no selling because they tried to sell it, but it was as close to no selling as you can get while selling it, and it felt like okay. The entire black leg kill submission and arm bars that were built up well in the match itself didn't matter in the end, but at the same time, they went all in on these high spots, near falls that just it didn't really that much hurt the match for me. It took it away from being like Starlight Kid's best, but it was still
Mhm.
like one of her best in her career, and it says a lot because Starlight Kid has a lot of great matches. On the
Yeah.
other side, this was the Natsupoi I asked for in this white belt reign. She felt locked in and had a mission. Uh, she was okay against Tekla. I think she was good against Hazuki, but it was outshined by Hazuki. And
Sure.
I'm not starting to talk about our new matches because I hate these matches. So
Yeah. Yeah. I got you.
so this was just the one for her that she needed, and if that is the quality she would have put out all the time, or could have put out all the time in her title reign, then it would have been much better. But she
Sure.
ended it on a high note, and it gave Starlight Kid the much needed momentum to carry on as white belt champion, hopefully in a great reign in 2025. Because
Yeah.
she has every tool, and she has every rival that she needs for it to be great.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, especially with the rivals and potential matchups that she could have now with the title around her waist. This is a title reign. This belt needs to be great. It's been a long time, it feels like, since we've had that truly, truly great Wonder reign. We've had a lot of champions since Saya Kamitani, but I don't think any of them have reached near that level. I know some people don't love Saya, but that's neither here nor there. I think also with this match, when you look at Starlight Kid's ability to kind of play to the big match, I come away thinking she delivers more often than not. I know again, when it comes to these two, I don't think they've always had the best chemistry. So it was nice to see them walk away with this being easily their best match. They played to the stakes, they played to the moment, they played to the show. Natsupoi went out there to establish Starlight Kid in this big title winning moment. And again, I think that kind of plays to Natsupoi's strengths that maybe didn't get to be shown throughout this reign, right? Like you said, Hazuki shine, and Natsupoi is very good at having other people shine, and maybe that's what hurt her reign as well. Tekla did not shine. Um, that's neither here nor there. But Starlight Kid did. And again, I walk away from this match, I walk away from this moment feeling very excited about the 2025 of Starlight Kid of the Wonder Stardom Championship. I'm really excited to see where this reign goes, who that first challenger is. There's a lot of potential names. I think people asking for a eventual arena defense are fair. I give her a few months before she gets there, but I think that is definitely something possible. Um, but there's just so many great options, and I'm really looking forward to it. And obviously, we're going to run back her and Hazuki after their match a couple months ago, where she took the mask of Starlight Kid. That feels like the potential destination. We'll just have to wait and see there. I'm not saying that I expect Hazuki to win. I'm not crazy. I could never get my hopes up like that again. I will, but you know, it feels like a destination for sure. Brad said the match tonight was absolutely magical. Ryuji, the transitions during the match were varied and very well, really well executed. Yeah, I liked like I said, I liked everything about this match. It was my favorite match of the show, just beating out the previous one. But I will bring in Velke here as we get to the main event because Velke, like when I brought Peps in for Micah, I bring Velke in for Tam Nakano. It's only right that we do that. Velke, welcome to the stream.
Hello. Timing is everything. I realized immediately when you said that I'm going to be talking about Tam Nakano.
Yes, you're welcome.
Yeah, I know. so before we start, I have to say I have to praise Pepsi's favorite Micah because she had an amazing match. She had an amazing match. I love that. It's I have short list of 18 matches right now that will be in my top 10 list, and this match is one of them. I have 18 matches there. I'll be crafting my top 10, and this match has a chance to be in the top 10 because I adored everything about it. It was so good. I did. Without this match, this show would be okay. This was a good show. With this match, with Maika versus Natsuko, which, by the way, I did not expect them to go as hard as they did and do as well as they did. It made the show much better. And I said it on Twitter, and I'll repeat it. Maika is Stardom's beer chugging ace, and I love it. And now let's talk about the bad thing. Tam Nakano lost the title.
Oh, you're upset that Tam lost. Yeah, that's totally what I expected from you, Vilke. Yes, so let's talk about Tam versus Saya Kamitani, main event, Stardom Dream Queendom 2024. Could have went either way. I think there was an argument to be had of Tam winning because of, the asset that she is obviously to this company is its most popular star, and you watch the ticket sales rise with her as world champion, but Saya Kamitani needed the win. She needed the win. I said this multiple times for a reason, but after the 5-star Grand Prix win, she couldn't just walk into this main event and once again come up short. The way I look at this match is I think they have better matches in their past. Both of the last two Wonder Stardom title matches they had, I think were both cleared this, but what I will give them credit for in the Tam Road matches is that they had many ideas throughout this match. Obviously, they tried to take from the hanging spot that, of course, Mayu Iwatani and Yoshino, formerly known as Kagetsu, multiple times made famous, and it was one hell of a visual. I'll give them that. There were also, moments that I felt like they were a little bit off throughout the match. And again, when I watch Saya Kamitani as a heel, it's fascinating to me because she poses all the time. Everything she does, it's followed by a pose. I'm like, that's fine. You're a heel. You're dastardly, and people hate you, and all that stuff. But like, she posed so much in this match. She even did it when she surprised everyone. I was like, Tam's no whatever. But ultimately, I like the title change, and maybe the hot take is, well, I thought the finish was wild. I didn't hate it. I thought the finish was perfect for what they're going with her character of how is she going to beat Tam Nakano? She's going to make Tam, go into her feelings that she so often does with Saya Kamitani, right? She's going to be concerned about Saya Kamitani, and she hurt her shoulder, arm, whatever it was, and she's going to shock everyone and ultimately take her down and beat her in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, with the Star Crusher. So, Velke, I'll go to you first, obviously bringing you in here to talk about Tam because you're Tam's number one fan.
Tam's number one hater.
Yes, you are. What were your thoughts on the match? I can only imagine they follow most of your thoughts on the Tam Road?
Oh, the match was basically what I expected outside of them removing uh the Kurara element, because
Sure, sure.
because the pre through basically the Saya versus Tam started when Kurara randomly defeated Saya in the Kurakan.
Yeah.
You remember that? It was like in
I do.
August or September or something like that. And
Yes.
from
It
that
was the
point
story that
onward,
stuck forever.
oh
Yes.
sorry.
It was the story that continued and continued and
Yeah,
continued.
and evolved, and then suddenly, like in the last few weeks, they removed Kurara away from the story and focused only on those two and the belt.
Yes.
I was surprised that they did not do that, because I was expecting that they would use Kurara as like a focal point of the story. Not that Kurara would turn, but that Hate would use Kurara to distract them, and Tam would have to fight. Like there was a promo that Saya cut that was basically laying down the choice between, like, you will have to protect one thing. You will have to choose between Kurara, who is right now your favorite. By the way, they were wearing bridal veils through the tag league, so
Yes.
whatever you can infer out of that. And your belt. So what is more precious to you? You will have to protect that. And then they removed that. There was a one point where when Saya was playing the injury,
Yep.
and Kurara was there behind her in the middle of the hard cam shot, and I was like, "Oh no, she's going in! She's going in! She's going in! It's happening!" Dylan was right. She will turn heel. It's going to be awful. And then it did not happen, and it was just Saya faking the injury.
Yes.
So they basically did less time loading than I expected.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
So that improved the match for me.
Sure.
I really liked the hanging spot. I really liked it. Although they should have probably told the technical crew in Sumo Hall or their own technical crew, so they could like put some spotlights in the entryway.
Yes.
So
Very dark.
yeah, because she was in the darkness, and only thanks to her gear she was like visible. She the photographs took great pictures because they had
They
had
did.
flashes. So
Yes.
like that photographs in newspapers will look great, but on the stream it didn't look good. But otherwise, by the way, I was expecting, for me, the result of the match was 50-50, basically in the
I
air.
agree.
Because on one hand, the story they were telling, and Tam Nakano wanting Saya to be her successor, and like the person she will crown, she will make fully. That's what she has been doing, like basically her whole career, and people do not understand that. But Saya Kamitani was never truly in Queen's Quest. She was always Tam Nakano's girl, always was.
Sure is. Still is.
Yes,
Both of her title wins are against
Yeah.
Tam, after all.
Exactly. And so there was like that on the one hand, and on the other hand, it was, I did not expect the Stardom to break the rule of not having heel champions. I know you can, in theory, bring up Natsuko Tora this summer.
Yeah, wasn't really a champion.
You mean the most mid-card champion of all mid-card champions of all time, who never main evented a single show?
Correct.
Never. So, like, no, she was not really a champion. That was a gold watch, or rather, to kind of make her into a threat or something like that. Otherwise, I am really like I did not want them to lose the title because I was not expecting a heel champion on top. I think that's very ballsy and very risky of Stardom to do. Although Saya Do you think Julia was a heel, Scott, when she
No.
was the red belt champion?
No, I don't think so. Maybe
don't
against
think-
Tam, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, I would say she was maybe a heel in her white belt run, but not in her red belt run. That was like
Yeah.
close to being babyface as you can get with Julia.
Yeah, that's so. This is like opening a completely new ground for
Yeah.
Stardom.
Mhm.
They had Kagetsu was a heel, but when he was on top of Stardom, there was still Momo as the anti-hero faces champion who was there. The the ace
Main
in the
event.
making. Yeah. The
Main event
I
a
would
lot.
I would like to follow up on what String 6 said about the Torah thing and Momo turning face. What he mentioned there, because people, of
She should
course,
turn
raised.
face and win the 5-star, of course.
Yeah,
So you can be
she's
right.
going to win the 5-star 2025. We all know that. It's written in the stars. She's in her 11th year of wrestling. She's in her 10th year of wrestling. It's time for her to win the 5-star. I've been saying this for the last 5 years, or rather
Yes, you
6
have.
years. I think. Yeah. I know.
You got close once.
Oh, sorry.
You got close once.
Yeah. Once. Not this time. This time was kind of bad.
This time you get. This time she only was better than Tam. Yes.
Yeah. The most losiest of all losers. Yes. Exactly. The previous third belt champion is fine. It's fine, Scott. It will happen once.
I believe for you that it happens. Maybe.
Yeah.
someday.
The thing about that is that people will probably bring up the gear she had against Mayu Iwatani, the
Uh-huh.
way she threw away the bat. And then she hit Tekla multiple times during the build to Wingore win and in the Wingore win as
That was
well.
babyface to me.
That's
She hit
yeah,
Tekla with the bat.
yeah, always the babyface to me.
Saved her glory.
So it's possible that the thermal in hate will be kind of focus of January and February. I think it's possible for the Otavert to be Natsukitora versus Saya Kamitani, especially because there is the main draw for the show anyway is the Cinderella final.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of playing it safe there.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Peps, I'll let you talk about this match and your thoughts on and how it ultimately went with Saya winning the belt.
I was told that it was a 7-star match.
I did ask you 3 times. I think I asked you 3 times during the match. Is this for 7 stars?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was 7 stars. They had, it was pretty much the typical like the typical Saya Kamitani Tam Nakano Sumo Hall match that we've seen twice already, pretty much from the same layout. But this time we added in that Kamitani is now heel, which brought in more interest and took away a bit from the pure spectacle of the in-ring work that they have. It was a good match. I thought it was the weakest Kamitani defense in my opinion. Tam Nakano title defense in my opinion. I would put it on the level of the Tora Tam and Maika Tora match, pretty much in terms of red belt matches. I thought it was totally fine. Nothing it was good, really good. I would have expected a bit more from them, but they told a simple story with Kamitani then in the end pretty much cheating to set up, I would guess, a match down the line because Tam is not done with her.
Yeah, Tam has already said she's going to get revenge, so they're not done.
Yeah, but she always says that.
Yeah, but
then the next step is that she randomly challenges Mayu and just wins the belt in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like the mother will come for her child and she will smack her over and over. So it's the rebellious daughter needs to be smacked down. I guess it's that because that's what their dynamic is.
Yeah, Yeah. So I will say I agree with Murph in the chat. We talked about this, thought their work was a lot crisper during the preview tags. Yeah, I think for me, what carried this match of my interest, and again, I do think it's the weakest of their bouts, but I did enjoy it by the end, is the way they told the story for Saya throughout. Right? She is insanely confident throughout her matches, but when it seems like she's about to lose, she goes to her dastardly ways. And as String Six Splash said earlier, um, she did it without hate. She, you know, she went her way of doing it. Fake the injury and play to Tam's emotions before ripping the title away from her effectively, which again I think makes her a bigger heel moving forward than say if just hate had helped her and she got the
Yeah,
win.
yeah, I agree that.
Right? Because again, these are the fans that love Tam and they were booing Saya Kamitani out of the building when she was having her promo and having this moment that is shown, of course, on the screen here,
Yeah,
where let's replay what we did back in 2021 when you put the Wonder of Stardom title around my waist. And I think it's a great decision in terms of someone who has been up and down with Saya Kamitani throughout her heel run. Because I said it earlier, I'll say it one more time. I thought there was just so much potential with her as a babyface, but she is doing the best work possible. I think for her, when it comes to trying to figure out this heel run, she's still trying to figure it out. I don't think it's all going to happen in a day or two. And to what you said earlier, Velke, of going with the heel champion, this isn't all too shocking for me, just based on the Bushiroad aspect of it, and they're embracing heels a bit more over the past couple of years elsewhere. Obviously, I know not everyone wants to hear the comparisons, but obviously House of Torture did get popular in Japan. Sorry, I know people don't like to hear that. And they're not going to the egregious every match is 100 run-ins and so on and so forth. Peps, are you typing?
Yes.
Okay, well I hear you.
he types very loudly. Yes.
Yeah, mechanic test. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I was just making sure. But as I was saying, they don't go to the House of Torture levels of run-ins and so on. However, they are getting heat, right? We saw Saya Kamitani now get heat here, and ultimately, she is now going, in my opinion, to be used for the ultimate payoff, which is likely Micah overcoming her and getting a second reign. That could change. Maybe they go another direction. I would welcome another direction unless it's just Tam. Because then I don't think that would be another direction. But if they have something up their sleeve, I am very intrigued. Again, because of what you said, Velke, going with the heel world champion, it's risky. But this was a main event that sold a lot of tickets at the end of the day. And I know it sold a lot of tickets before the match was announced, but it sold a lot of tickets once it was announced. And Saya Kamitani is someone that their fans are going to want to see taken down from the top. And I think that's, again, why I look at this win as a clean slate moving forward, because it is very different. It is now truly the new Stardom that can move on from this year of, and I know I was part of it. I know many others part of it, of comparing and whatnot. No, this is just new Stardom. This is the promotion running on its own. Yes, it's going to borrow from the history. Obviously, look at this is Tam and Saya copying from their history. But I think it's beneficial and exciting for me, because then you also have Starlight Kid as the super baby face Wonder of Stardom champion. So that's kind of my thoughts in terms of that. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I forgot about the Starlight Kid being underneath the main events. Yeah, I guess that can really help there. Yeah, Starlight Kid is a white belt champion, can help carry the load for Saya if the heel champion run on top fails in the box office. It the Starlight Kid as a Wonder Champion is yeah, that's what I didn't realize. It's not as ballsy as I thought when you say that, like when you say it like that. It's the only thing that I have with Saya, as you called it, the clean slate. She still has not figured out who she is
I
as a
agree.
heel.
I
She
agree.
like the temper tantrum throwing child that she was in the presser. After that presser, I thought it would be like criminal to let her win the title there, because
I agree.
she bombed that presser. She
Yes.
bombed
Yep.
completely. Like even such
Poorly done presser for
uh,
her.
like
100%.
even such a, I know this is going to sound insane right now, but please give me.
Of course.
She the way they sat down when during the presser after Tam Nakano ordered the president of the company and the announcer, who is beloved by everyone, to fetch her stuff. Then she sat down and swirled her wine bottle in the open, cross-legged, while Saya Kamitani sat with crossed arms hiding behind the desk. Completely defensive posture, while Tam was like listening to her whine and cry as a little tiny baby who doesn't deserve her attention. And she was above it all. Of course, Tam ended with a food in her face. She always does when she brings food to the table. That's what she does. She eats shit in the pressers and then she wins in the matches.
Yeah.
It was the same with Mirai, where she couched Mirai throughout the presser and then ended with a pie in her face again,
Yep.
like last time. And to make herself a heel against Mirai, so Mirai would have get cheered when she was like getting the white belt from her last year. So like I did not expect Saya to win because I don't think she has it figured out. Maybe she will next month. Maybe she will get like a good direction where she can take her character. The struggle between Hate, Momo, Tekla, Natsuko, even Rina. Whatever happened with Konami, they can have infighting. I don't know.
So they do have, so they're interestingly enough doing a press conference like New Japan had often done after Wrestle Kingdom today. So I think at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So whatever time that may be for you. So it'll be interesting to see what she does with that opportunity to seemingly cut a promo and kind of lay the work for the direction for her now that she has the title. And I think that'll be very important for her. Because you can cut a promo post match when everyone's booing you, but now it's no one's going to be booing you. This is a press conference. What are you going to bring to the table? How are you going to set up your title reign from here? And I think that is very important. I am rooting for her because, like I said, I look at this as a clean slate. Everything's new, everything's different. I think Starlight Kid as the Wonder Storm champion, while Saya Kamitani figures out the heel work while being the heel champion, is fascinating. And I do think Starlight Kid's going to do just fine. I think I have a lot of confidence actually in her to do well. But that's kind of the beauty of this story, I think. And it's going to be a learning process. It's been a learning process, obviously, but I hope she figures it out sooner than later. It'll be interesting. Like I said, she's got the presentation in terms of the entrance and the music and right like that's been nailed, I think, to me since like day one essentially, but it's been everything else, and that's what I'm now awaiting when the first show happens for her, when the first title defense happens for her, and of course the press conference like we are awaiting later tonight. Any other thoughts now on this show before I ask you both one question before we get out of here?
I would just want to say, I think this one, we always talk about this is the most Taro Kata show ever, but this one was even more. And I think it's the most, how can I say that? The most ballsy one in some way, looking at what he has booked ahead.
Sure.
Like, he has Yokohama Arena, and I talked with Welke quickly about it in live chat and in Discord. Like that, like that is ballsy to run at that point in Stardom, because even though Stardom has been doing like good numbers, it's not in terms of like you don't have the boost of okay, it's the first Yokohama Arena show in like forever. It's now a standalone show pretty much that needs to sell based on what they have. And
Mhm.
looking
Right,
at
doesn't have
what
the
they have built up so
international
far, they are
influx
going
that this
with
does.
their two top projects in 2024 with Mike and Kamitani in the main event. And that will be the big test at how much of an success, not in terms of like the crowd reactions, but in terms of box office, will these two be for Stardom in the future.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's something so interesting to me that I can't wait to see that. And I hope they go with it simply because of that aspect of the story.
Mhm. And don't
Yeah.
pivot. I mean, I'm with you there, Peps. Get Velke.
Yeah, I would really like to see Micah versus Saya there, especially because I will be there in person. Because yes, I already had planned to going to Japan for the Golden Week, and I was very happy to see the 27th of April because that's the week I'm arriving. So yeah, I really the Micah versus Saya is not my preferred pairing. But I will love to see Beer Chugging Ace Micah to beat up this this person who is right now a champion of the Stardom. I don't like this person. She's too whiny for me.
Well, maybe that's part of it. Maybe
Yeah,
she's
I
doing
know.
something right, you know?
I'm supposed to not like her. It's
Yeah.
working. I
It is.
enjoy cheering against her. I want the smirk
Yeah.
of her face. Let's wipe it. No, or
Yes.
not like pour some beer on top of her head or something like that. Shove her head into a toilet or I don't know, bully her.
I think that is the interesting thing with her is she is whiny. She has a big smile on her face anytime she gets her way, and that is the heel she's going for. If she can figure out even more in the ring and still kind of perfect the character, I think it has a lot of steam behind it. But my one question for both of you, and I asked it earlier, as we head into 2025 following Stardom Dream Queendom 2024, what is the number one thing you're looking for, Peps, besides Micah regaining the title? Thank you. What is the number one thing you're hoping to see out of Stardom? Because I think there's a lot of momentum behind them. I would like to see them continue the momentum following this show, and I think these first couple months are very important. So, what would you like to see out of them in these next couple months? And the same goes to those that are watching live. You can comment in the chat, let us know. But I'll go with you, Velke, first. What are you hoping to see over these next few months? Number one
Okay,
thing out of
next few
Stardom.
months. I really want to see how Saya figures out the heel stuff. And the
Mhm.
red and the champion as a heel.
Who would you have
Uh,
her face first?
First, I would have had her face the Soriano that
Okay.
was like
Yep.
offered. I think that's a logical beat
Yep.
all the angels losing
Yeah, I
everything.
think that'd be
Then
great.
yeah, that's fine for me. Um, the Natsukutora thing that also is
Mhm.
fine for me, and the Maika thing also fine for me. But number one thing that outside of Momo winning the 5-star, of course, that's given.
Of course, of
Uh,
course.
this is like I don't know if you've seen me tweet about this or write about this. I want to see Chi beat Miyu Amasaki for the future.
That's real.
Uh,
That's real business right there. Now
and
we're talking.
and then like let Chi own every other Stardom challenger until Aya Sakurai finally beats her next year in a
You're cooking
year.
with gas. You're cooking. That's real. No, that's
At
real.
Sumo
I'm all
Hall,
in.
at
I'm
Sumo
all in.
Hall opening match, Aya Sakura versus Chi for the future of Stardom Championship.
In
Aya
the main
Sakura
event.
finally beats her. That's
I like
the
that.
match. That's actually what I want to what I want because Scott, in 2028 they will main event the Sumo Hall show together against each other.
Damn.
I
That's
believe that.
I
I
love that.
believe that they will main event the Sumo Hall show against each other for the world title.
I'm all in on that. Those I love those two. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I like that you pivoted away from like the that's great. I'm all in on Velke's idea. Listen to that one. And the Momo 5-star. That's cool with me too.
That's
But
like that's the
Chi Chi Win the Future is
standard.
great. Yeah, of
Chi
course.
is awesome. I love her.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Chi Chi. I've sang her praises many, many times, and I'll continue to do so. So I'm all in on that. I think that's a great direction. Peps, you can say Micah winning the title back, but I'm gonna need more than just that in terms of these next few months. And you could say overall year what you'd like to see from Stardom now that they have momentum and are riding high heading into 2025.
Okay, I will get my agenda points off first. Okay. I
Rihanna
want
world
Rian to
title?
win a match,
Okay.
and
A
I
match
want
is fair.
and I want Suzu Suzuki to get buried.
Hey, we already did that in 2024. Why we don't have to do that again?
It's fun. It's funny. We need to own the nerds. No, but jokes aside, I hope for 2025 especially that we walk out at Sumo Hall next year, and it feels like that we have an complete main event scene that is more than just 3 wrestlers. So I hope that the elevation of the talents they want to push continues to the level where we have more than 3 people that actually can hold the red belt right now.
Sure.
And looking in the undercard, I mean, like an obvious one is Rina winning the high speed belt and getting more involved now that she's 18 with the more upper mid card wrestlers because she deserves that for that. And another one is that we try to utilize all belts that they have without forgetting one or two for like a couple of months because
you mean those that trios
You mean the
bunch that
trio
they have?
titles? Yeah, that do not exist.
The Tam Nakano trying to record holding belts, yeah.
Yes.
Just incredible thing, yeah.
Just to go to the chat, we do have some requests. Venkin would like to see Sari win the IWGP title. Murphs does ask a very important question. Do they find their way back to Mayu and Tam? Or is that just they're going to find their way back, trust me.
I think they will run it before April. Yeah, if Mayu's leaving, they're running it before April.
Yes. If they don't, there's a chance they save it for April.
Which I would be also very fine because I would get to see that. That's also that I would like that to be there live. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, work out well for you. But I think those are great pitches. To just give one that I kind of said earlier, I would like to see a transformation for Momo Watanabe in this new year because I do think with Saya Kamitani kind of coming in and stepping over, there is something to be said about Momo as a. I don't even need her to be a full-on babyface. I just want more from Momo in the new year, and I think they did enough teases this year to think that's possible in 2025. Other possibilities I'll be doing, just worth noting, in the first week after all the Stardom and all the other big Joshi shows kind of come by, I will be doing a Joshi predictions video for the entire year over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ScottEWrestling. So I'll give more there. So I'll just keep it to Momo for now. I won't spoil some of the things I have thinking up. But thank you to both of you for joining me. Thank you to everybody in the chat for joining us today. This has been awesome. I absolutely love getting to do this. Love doing these live reviews. It's been a while. I think this is the first one we've done since the summer at least, because I didn't get to do the 5-star final because I had stuff to do and obviously did that little series. So thank you everyone that has joined us from start to finish here, nearly 2 hours. Thank you to String Six Splash for joining me earlier. Thank you to Peps for joining me. Thank you to Velke for joining me. Before we get out of here, Peps, I know you love when I do this. Peps, give me your plugs, and Velke, you'll give your plugs, and we will get on out of here.
Yeah, you will find me on Twitter at Peps_wrestling. I believe everything I tweet and everything I post there will be able to find easily there if you search it right. Next thing should be Marigold preview for the upcoming big show. And with that,
Yes.
Okay, you can continue.
I do have a Twitter. It's my name. And also you can search on YouTube Actress Stage, because I do a little podcast about Actress, which, by the way, Maya Fukuda is from Actress. She had 3 matches there. She's not the ugly wrestler. She's an actress, because lead wrestlers are fake.
Actress turned MMA fighter.
Yes,
Kinda.
very bad MMA fighter. Not a
Yeah,
great
not a lot of
actress
success
wrestler.
there.
No. By the way, if anyone thinks she's a seasoned wrestler, no, she's not. She's a rookie,
No.
and she should be considered rookie. She had less matches than Rana.
Yeah,
Rana debuted this year.
I'm really
I mean,
fascinated that they.
I think she has the same amount of matches than Matoi.
Yes, very similar number, very similar, but spread through 3 years. So no, Maya Fukuda, or whatever her new name is
And
not
they
a
gave her the
seasoned
big
wrestler. She's a
presentation.
rookie.
Gave
Also,
the
her
big
new name
presentation.
sucks.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And that's a good thing on going off.
That's crazy. Well, okay. Well, thank you. I'm happy that's the last thing Velking gets to say on the show. That's incredible. To follow up what Murph said, first stream next, Super Rookie coming for everyone. This Friday, I'll be back on the Fight Game Media Network YouTube channel, going live at 2 or 2:30. I haven't decided yet. Depends on the time, but the show's pretty early, so we're probably going to aim for 2:30 if I had to guess. Anyways, same time as today. We'll do that next Friday. Marigold first stream live review should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Lots coming up over the next few
Scott
weeks.
will also review the Stardom show on the same day.
No.
No. Why would he do that? No,
I will not. I will not be doing that. I don't know when I'm
No.
going to see that show. In terms of Wrestle Kingdom, for me, I will be reviewing that show somewhere, I'm sure, just not for the 5-star, because I only care about one match on that show when it comes to kind of what we're covering here. So I will have an extra bonus episode up for the 5-star sometime after Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty, to talk about that, TJPW, Oz Academy, Sendai Girl, everything that's been going on this past week that wasn't covered in the 2 live streams. So like I said, Friday 2:30 on this channel. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ScottEWrestling. Got a lot of plans there. And keep an eye out. I will be releasing a ballot to vote for the 3rd annual 5-star Joshi Awards on the 1st of the new year. Gotta wait. Gotta make sure everything's over. I know people love to get their awards out and so on, but listen, we wait till the very last day, because hey, if I did it early, we would have missed this show, and that would not have been very smart. So Wrestler of the Year, Promotion of the Year, Match of the Year, all that good stuff, that will be all on there. Thank you to Velke, thank you to Peps, thank you to people in the chat. Until next time, everybody, so long, see ya, have a good one, bye-bye.
Bye.